I used to work for Facebook. They let me go with the first round of layoffs.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I took some time to kind of try and get back on top of my mental health. And then when I started applying for jobs, I've just had, it's been probably 3 or 4 months of zero luck. I get really anxious when I worry that I'm not going to meet somebody's expectations, whether I'm close to meeting them or not. And after that, I took all of my savings, my stock money, my retirement money, said I'm going to live my next 6 months like they're the last 6 months of my life, and then I'm going to end it.
Well, welcome back, Chris, to Financial Audit. Interesting episode last time. We had you upload on August 18th, 2023, so looking about a year. That seems to be where the follow-ups are kind of headed these days, about a year at a time. Now, what was interesting about your episode, and honestly unfortunate at the same time, is one thing that came up, as early as 2 minutes and 34 seconds in, were some severe mental health struggles, which is obviously something that I am not qualified to talk about. When we talk about things with qualifications and things, it's like mental health, there are qualifications necessary to kind of really understand it and help with something that can end up being life or death. But when it comes to finances, qualifications are typically for selling investing products or insurances, but not budgeting and stuff like that, which is what we tend to deal with here. So that's what kind of made it hard for us. And we ended up just talking about how you were thinking of moving back to New York City by the end of August, and you got laid off at that point from Facebook. You were a program manager at that time, and I know that's when the tech market was just kind of getting in its lull of the job area that we're still in to this day. And you wanted to move back closer to family, and we were looking at your finances, but we kind of stopped looking at your finances because at that point we just realized mental health was number one for you. It wasn't about the finances. So I want to hear what happened. It's been a year. What's going on?
What happened? Yeah. So the mental health is obviously always going to be a thing for someone like me, but it's improved. I'm back in New York now due to some really great friends. I had a buddy who basically just took charge because I was in such a dark place that I was just kind of letting it go and had no plan and was just going to lose everything I had, leaving it in my apartment in Austin and then just live in my car and figure it out as I went. But a really good friend, the guy I hosted my podcast with, he said, yeah, I'm coming down and we're going to get this figured out and, help you best I can. And so he flew to Austin and helped me get my stuff into storage and drove back to New York with me. So I can't thank him enough for that help. And since being back here, I was really isolated in Austin. Having moved there just before the pandemic hit, and I didn't realize how isolated I was until I got back here. I was leaving my apartment maybe once every 6 weeks. Not interacting.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very much an agoraphobe, and I really struggled when it came to doing anything. Getting out and socializing. Back in 2016, I lost over 100 pounds, and was feeling great, and then in the pandemic, I put it all back on and then some. The job market is still really bad. I've been into third, fourth, final rounds with large tech companies, only to be told that they put a hiring freeze in place, or they've just gone through a round of layoffs, or they're restructuring, what have you. And I'm also pretty certain there's a lot of fake job postings out there, things that are just up to kind of build a backlog of people in case they have turnover. So yeah, it's been tough. I've been doing Uber Eats. That was I jumped right into Uber Eats when I got back here. That can be very.
Is that what you're still doing right now?
That's what I'm doing now. Hence why I'm in the car.
Oh, okay.
I did have a brief time where I worked for a local chain of convenience stores, but the money was pretty comparable to Uber Eats. And work was, they asked for way too much from people for essentially minimum wage. And so it just made more sense to go back to doing Uber Eats where I can kind of make my own hours and there's no cap on what I can earn at least. So yeah. I'm doing Uber Eats now, trying to get back on my feet. I'm still interviewing for jobs. I've got, a tech job lined up next week, an interview for it. I'm also interviewing to be a local 911 dispatcher. I'm really hopeful to get that. I think that would be a great job for me.
Let me pause. I'm sorry. Let me pause for a second. We had someone who came on the show, and this was a while ago. I'd love to have him back on, who was a 911 dispatcher. as someone who has pretty big mental health issues as yourself, which is okay, there's nothing wrong with that. That is a tolling job. That is a mental job. You hear people in some of the worst moments of their life going through a life or death scenario, and the pressure sometimes feels like it is on you to make sure that you are able to get the services to them in the right amount of time. Are you sure that's the job that is best for you?
Yeah, I think I would really not just enjoy it, but excel at it. I think I like to help people. I like those pressure packed situations. I like to be on the spot,
Yeah.
And that sense of purpose is something I really lacked in the tech field. It was it was financially rewarding, sure, but at the end of the day, I didn't really felt like I served a big difference other than to, help the company move forward. The idea of helping people is really interesting and appealing to me. It's something I really like to do. So I'm looking for that, that fulfillment.
Did you lose him? There may have been an interesting pause cut in the video right there. We lost connection, but we're jumping back into it. Okay, well, let's get into your finances. So at that time when we filmed, we had some credit cards. We had 1,541 on credit card number 1, 300 on credit card number 2, a Capital One that had 893, but you frequently paid this off and then recharged it, kind of in a relatively responsible way for that one specifically. Now, obviously, we talked on focusing on mental health, and you thought specifically what you told me is that survival mode would kick in and get you out of the situation. Now, it sounds like, you did hit the goal of moving back to New York and being closer to family and having a support system. So I am glad to hear that, but let's look at where things are today. How much are you bringing in on a monthly basis-ish with Uber Eats right now?
And that's the tough part with Uber is it's so inconsistent. Like yesterday, I made $270 over a 12-hour period, which was pretty solid. But most days it's maybe 100, 130, and then there's obviously gas that comes out of that. So
yeah,
if I clear $100 a day, I'm doing okay.
I see you have a credit score of 493, so that's not crazy good. Gosh. The fuck happened to the Capital One credit card? Why is it at 8,394?
It's a good question. I don't recall what I did to do with that. I don't.
It's been a year.
Yeah, no, and it was gone probably before I left Austin. That's why I wonder if that's even a different Capital One card.
There are two. One's at 1,597.
Yeah, so that other one is going to be an older one that was closed out before that I didn't even know was there last time we met.
Okay, well, first of all of these are closed. Did you close them or did they close them on you?
They closed them on me.
Were you just not making payments this last year?
Yeah, well, yeah. I used what I could to get out of Austin and, get back up here and take care of bills while I was there. Yeah.
Well, it looks like they haven't been sent to collections yet, but we do have some collections as well of 1,444. 271 from Transworld Systems. That was Austin Energy, so you just never paid your energy bill.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had paid it up when I left, and that I'm assuming maybe was after I moved. I don't know. But at 271, it's probably the least of my financial concerns at this time.
I guess, but if your credit score's in the 400, that's an easy cleanup to at least get a couple points back, if that's what we're really caring about.
Yeah.
Do you have any debts that are not closed? Do you have any access to borrowing money right now?
Nothing probably significant. I've had friends help me out with a few bucks here or there, but
good, because obviously you're not someone that can leverage that, because you leverage it and then you just leave it, and then if it's your credit, which any chance of any kind of do you have a savings account right now?
No.
Okay, yeah, so someone like you would have to borrow money if an emergency pops up, and obviously this completely ruins that or puts you in essentially the most predatory type debt you could get.
I ran into a jam in the last week where my brakes needed to be replaced, and obviously I didn't have the money to do that, so I actually did them myself. I used a few YouTube videos and figured it out and got it done, but
that's honestly probably a better way to do it anyway.
Certainly.
Because now you have that life skill in general for because I mean you always got to redo brakes and stuff. Balance 200. So 2,520 came in. Wait, oh, this is an Uber checking account. Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Is this spending? It is. It totally is. Okay. Are you going into gas stations and getting things while Ubering?
I grabbed a couple drinks, but I'm not like buying snacks and all that. I'm getting water and gas. No taquito.
It'll never make sense to me though. We can get from a grocery store, and so you know, I have a little feeling in me that New York probably has grocery stores, and you can go inside of them. You know, you worked for one for a bit. You can go inside of one. You can get a big pack of their cheapest water for a few bucks, nothing crazy. And what those individual water bottles come out to are what, 25 cents? You can do this instead of going in and getting.
I do that, but if I run out,
Well, then we don't run out. We're stopping at grocery stores. I mean, you're already stopping at the gas station. Stop at a grocery store for a second. I know, just because like after you deliver, just wait a second before you take the next order. Go to a grocery store real quick. It's okay. It's just, the thing is, if we're struggling to afford for an emergency, we are not getting the markup of 100, 200% from a gas station for a single-use water bottle. We're just not. And then McDonald's and stopping and getting endless drinks constantly. It's just every second of every day, it looks like. And what is Stewart's shop?
That's a gas station.
Yeah, that's a $6, $4 purchases there. So that's not gas. I see the gas purchases. They're around $20. Obviously, that's okay. The public storage makes sense, likely. $200 out of an ATM. Who knows where that went? McDonald's and Wendy's. And going inside and getting drinks. And Domino's. Adobe and your Uber business account. What are we doing with Adobe to improve your Uber business?
That's a hangover from the podcast. They do the subscription. You're locked in for a year. I got it down as low as I could, but
McDonald's, Burger King, ATM withdrawal, $44. Who knows where that went? Here's all the Uber payouts and Uber trips. Finally, all of it was the spending money, and finally some money's coming in for all that spending. And Chick-fil-A and Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Dunkin'. When we're out Ubering, I don't think we're wasting all the money that's coming in, especially when the Uber probably makes, after gas and maintenance, like $15 an hour, 12, 15, something like that at this point. I don't think we're going every single second and stopping in and getting drinks and stopping and getting McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and Domino's and bullshit when we cannot afford an emergency. You're just going to end up in a worse position where you're opening a predatory loan if an emergency happens. If an emergency happens that, isn't something that you can just learn from YouTube. A lot you can, sure, but if an emergency happens for, like, you fall and scrape your arm and it won't stop bleeding, I don't know if YouTube's the place to be like, okay, I mean, I guess you could wrap it in a bandage, but you might want to see an emergency room depending on how bad it is. Car breaks down, you have to get a car at 30% interest, something insane. How's the condition of that bad boy that you're driving in besides its brand new breakage?
It's, it's seen better days, but it's running. I mean, it's fine. There's no obvious issue like on the horizon.
What is the car?
But it's a car. What's that?
What is the car?
It's a Mustang.
Year?
2014.
Miles?
150.
Okay, yeah, so this is why we need an emergency fund, because, I mean, you're just getting in that range where we're in the unknowns, we're starting to head there. Especially, it sounds like, I mean, if you had to replace your brakes at the last minute, it sounds like we're probably not doing the proper maintenance on it for longevity anyway. So I know you say it's unpredictable with Uber, but just up months, down months combined, what do you at least expect? Like, okay, here's my baseline.
I think at minimum I can bank on 2,500, maybe 3,000
before gas. Okay, how much usually goes into gas?
400 to 500 probably out of that.
Okay, that's not horrendous. Are you setting anything aside for taxes? Not that your taxes would be immense. I want to give you free money right now. I've partnered with different resources that will literally give you hundreds of dollars the moment you sign up for them. Check out my investing app of choice, Moomoo, where they give you up to 15 free stocks and 8.1% interest on your uninvested cash when you sign up with my link. Do you want a more traditional savings account? Check out where I keep my emergency fund, SoFi, where they'll give you 4.6% on your money and up to $250 for signing up with my link. Would you rather have automated investing? Sign up for Acorns with my link and you'll get $20 right now instead of the usual $5 you'd get from your friend's referral. You can also sign up for our investing program and get $100 in cash deposited into your Moomoo account. This is the best way to learn what your investing profile looks like and what investing strategies to use based on that. All of this free money is linked in the resources section of the description below, so don't pass up the free money because I'll punch you.
No, not at the moment.
As you have no savings, yeah. So, yeah. And what's your living situation?
With family.
Okay.
Yeah, just they're very generous, I guess.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's okay to be down for a bit. What we now work on is getting you in a situation where the thing is, because of your credit, it actually might be hard to get into some places, depending.
Oh, yeah. That's a big concern.
What we might be doing is taking care of the smallest debts on your credit to at least alleviate some of the pain here. Because we got 271 that we could take care of and bring it up probably like 10 points. And then we have a few that are in the $1,500 range. Oh, two. They're in the $1,500 range because one I just repeated. Sounds like the credit one was sold off to LNNV funding. So with those collections, $3,000 changes the name of the game. What are your bills besides gas?
So I've decreased those as much as I could. My phone bill was almost $200 a month. That's down to, I want to say 60 or 80, somewhere around there. And my car insurance is $83, and my storage just went up to $200 a month.
It's pretty aggressive. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way to get that stuff out of storage in Austin and get it back to New York because it'd be nice to have my stuff. But
it's still here.
That's a big price tag.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what we're doing then. Does family that you're living with cover groceries, or do you need to contribute?
No, I try to not be a burden as much as possible. Hence the, eating out. I don't have fridge space. They've got
totally
kids.
Fine.
I don't,
Totally fine. I think after groceries and the bills that you mentioned, you should minimum, and this is me being like conservative, you should have more, but at minimum, you should have $1,500 left over if you actually budget. So with the budgeting, what I need you to do for 2 months, since you're able to live in family, I don't need you to have a 1 month emergency fund necessarily. 2 months, you're paying off those 2 collections, and I think your score is going to go up. The reason we're paying off the collections is to give you some sense of independence. I don't think we touched the 8,394 one there for a bit. So what we're doing for the next 7 months or so after that, so 2 months to pay off those debts, then 7 months. We are saving up $10,000 so you can have a $10,000 emergency fund. And then we can negotiate the Capital One Bank. Well, it's not in collections yet. Maybe you could still negotiate. It's worth calls. Maybe getting on a payment plan or something. But then I would work to pay that off as quick as possible. Let's call that another 6 months. I don't think it necessarily needs to be 5 or 6 months. But, okay, so we're a year and a half in, and you essentially have no debt and you have a fully funded emergency fund. It's a great place. From there, hopefully, job searching, I know it's a little harder, and, try to figure out, well, you're saying you didn't make it in because they said it's closed. But, we're just continuing that life. We're continuing that life. And you're trying to, are you only doing remote?
No, I've applied to every, I couldn't tell you the hundreds of jobs and so many. It's
and in the sector you were in, it's a little harder, especially in the job position you were in. So we're continuing the grind. Maybe we're accepting some lower, what were you making in your job at Facebook?
When I left, it was 119.
And which is awesome, and I'd love to get you there again. But maybe we're accepting something that's in like this 50 to 60,000 hour range.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that this dispatcher job is in that range, right. And yeah.
Perfect. And then obviously from there, I really think in a year and a half from now, if you actually follow this is, come on. We talked a year ago and it feels like I just saw your face. So a year goes by so quickly. A year and a half from now is nothing with just a little bit of sacrifice. You do that. And then, buddy, with whatever your job is at that time, We should be able to 50, 30, 20 relatively if you're in that job that you're looking at getting in. 50% on needs, 30% on wants, which is an incredible amount of money on wants. You can do what you're doing now, and then 20% to investing. You know what I would actually do? I would do, since you're 40 now, right?
Yeah.
What I would actually do is I would do 50, 25, 25 to catch up on retirement. I would do 25% to investing, 25% on fun, and 50% on needs. If for some reason, whatever your needs are, needs to be above 50% of your budget, you're taking away from wants, you're not taking away from investing, because I need you to have a shot at retirement, which you definitely can be with 25% starting at 40, totally fine. 41 at that time, you know, when you're ready to start investing. So honestly, I still think you have a bright path, financially speaking, because the mess isn't the most immense mess. For you, it's more, one, finding the job, and two, continuing to take care of yourself, whether it's seeking therapy, surrounding yourself with the right people. And it sounds like you are doing better because you have more of a community around you, which I'm really happy to hear. I know you lived on one of the most active and populated streets in Austin, and you didn't leave your apartment for every 6 weeks. But now you have your community around you, and I think that's what's critical for you. So you haven't made any progress towards debt. Let's be very clear. In fact, it may have gotten worse. But a year and a half, that's all it takes, with a little bit of budgeting and leaning on the people around you, which is totally okay. And by then, at that point, you will be able to live on your own. There's a lot of opportunities here, and you'll be able to have retirement. It's a year and a half grind, which I think is totally fine. For the rest of our life, a year and a half is nothing. Hammer financial score was 0 out of 10 last time. Let's see. Spending in a budget. The thing is, none of it was going towards that or emergency fund, so I can't really say spending in the budget was any better. 0 out of 10 there. When it comes to your debt, we have collections, so 0 out of 10. Savings, you don't have savings, 0 out of 10. Retirement, 0 out of 10. Real estate, 0 out of 10. Okay, so it is still a 0 out of 10. But mental health score, not that there's one, but it is likely increased. And that was the first step for you, which is what we talked about last time. And now you have an ability to easily be to a 5 out of 10 within a year and a half from now, if not higher. So go on it, man. Keep it going. You have the ability to be on the right track. Just start today, okay?
Fair. Definitely.
Okay. Make sure to check out all the resources linked in the description below, as they are what I use or would use in specific situations, including the best budgeting and investing program in the history of the internet, which is bundled at a 15% discount. Make sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys for the next one. If you want to take your investing to the next level, my new investing course is still on sale. Until July 1st, we're offering the course for only $97, which is $50 off. You'll get over 55 lessons, the best budgeting spreadsheet known to man, portfolio strategies, worksheets, retirement strategies, and I'll give you a $100 Moo cash reward when you sign up with Moo. Check out the link below for more. Stop buying sweet treats, people, and start investing.